My phone does this.
Hi everyone, I'm here with Michael Crimmins. He's actually running for Congress.
That's right, United States Congress.
Okay, in the 51st District, and for those of us who are not familiar with the different districts here in San Diego, what areas does that cover?
It's the, since redistricting, it's the whole border with Mexico, from where the fence goes in to the ocean in Imperial Beach, all the way over to Arizona at Yuma. So that's 170 miles.
There was a B on my finger. Okay.
Yeah, B on your finger. And then it goes from the border, it's all the Imperial County, so it goes from the border up through the Salton Sea. And so the district is larger than the states of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware combined.
So there are it's a lot of area. Now there is people who are listening who happen to be in your area. What is the message that you'd like to convey to them? Maybe a couple of things that you feel very, very strongly about and that you think they should know when going to the polls.
Well, I think that this election is all about values and principles. And my background is 21 years in the United States Marine Corps. I retired. Then I went back to school, got my advanced degrees, and I was a school teacher in Southeast San Diego. So my student population were mainly Americans of African or Americans of Mexican descent. And as I used to tell my kids in school, as we sit here in this classroom, we have two things in common. First of all, we're all Americans. And secondly, that flag that represents each and every one of us equally. Doesn't care whether you're black, brown, tan, white, yellow, or Native American. Doesn't care whether you're rich or poor. Doesn't care whether you worship one God, many gods, or no gods. And it really doesn't care whether you're educated or uneducated. And basically you're the cause of everything that happens to you. And if you want to go out and do stupid things, well, there's a consequence to be paid for that.
Let me ask you this, Michael. How do you manage to stay connected with your mentioning minorities that you've worked with when you were in the San Diego School District? How do you manage to stay connected with African Americans in the community or Mexican Americans in the community?
Well, being in the Marine Corps, that's a multi-ethnic sub-society of the United States, because we have, all those different ethnic populations in the Marine Corps. And if you're going to be an effective leader, you have to be able to know how to, talk to people. And it's all about respect. Don't disrespect people, but you're a leader and you have to make decisions, and everybody has to go along to get along. And basically, I'm a good listener. You never learn by talking, you always learn by listening to other people, and then make a valued, reflective type of judgment.
What are some instances where you actually listen to people in the community?
Well, running for Congress this time, and I'm always on the border and talking to Spanish-speaking communities, and what they want to see is Amistad Friendship Park reopened up, and that's one of the things that we should do. And that's why it's about 500 yards up from the ocean edge, right on the fence that separates the United States from Tijuana. And what's the advantage of that? Well, it would be for anybody can go there if you have proper identification once it's reopened, but primarily who would be going there would be Spanish-speaking communities from both sides of the border that have family members from the other side of the border. Well, immediately you take people out of the traffic lanes down in San Ysidro, so you're not sitting in a car for 2.5 hours, idling gas. You can facilitate families coming to meet each other. So we spend a little bit of money, gloss up the park a little bit. It probably, my envisioning it, is to be about the size of a soccer field. It's totally enclosed on the U.S. side of the border, fenced in. You have to have proper identification to get in, get out. And then we put in picnic tables and barbecues and bathroom facilities and jungle gyms for the kids to play. And you make it a friendly environment. And the other thing visualization is really important. So what we do, we'll drop in two flagpoles, one for the American flag, one for the Mexican flag.
Okay.
And then what we'll do is each day rotate on a basis, play Star Spangled Banner one day first, and then the Mexican national anthem the next day first. But regardless, on each country's day of independence, their national anthem would be played first. Now, where did I learn that little technique? When I lived in the Philippines, and it makes relations a lot easier, as neighbors, friendly neighbors.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that your opponent, and this won't turn into a mudslinging section.
Oh, of course not. We just tell the truth.
And you mentioned your opponent, Juan Vargas, is in no way pro-family.
No.
In what sense?
Well, Juan...
I should say, in what sense are you pro-family?
Well, I am pro-family. Pro-parental rights, parental notification, marriage is defined as a union of one man and one woman, and pro-life. And Juan Vargas, even though he puts out that he's Catholic and that he studied to be a priest, he actually votes against all those issues. He's all into the cross-dressing, transgender, denial of parental rights, taking away fathers' biological rights. There's a whole list of stuff that Juan has voted against, the pro-family, pro-parental rights, and pro-life.
So just to clarify,
initiative.
you are against gay marriage, is what you're saying?
Yeah, marriage is defined as a union of one man and one woman. Now, we have to realize, our society, we have a lot of different issues. If they want to have their civil unions and domestic partnerships, that's fine with me. Just don't destroy marriage.
Okay. Any other projects or causes that you're passionate about and that you'd like to mention here before we go?
Well, jobs are really important. Having a military background, and I can talk about this pretty quickly. What I'd like to see is bringing another aircraft carrier and permanently stationed it at North Island. What does that mean? At least $500 million annually in payroll alone. So that would bring a lot of jobs to San Diego, because you have to support that. And the other thing, out there in El Centro, let's station the newest tactical jet, the F-35 Lightning. Let's bring that to El Centro rather than to NAS Lemoore, which is up towards Sacramento.
How will that help San Diegans?
Well, it's part of my district.
Okay,
So,
and how will it
it's
help?
jobs.
Okay.
It's jobs.
Okay.
What helps San Diegans is a lot of people don't realize, if you envision a four-legged chair, San Diego is just like that. One leg represents tourism. Another leg is light manufacturing, biotech, high-tech, green tech, gen tech. Another leg is the Port of San Diego, and the last leg is Department of Defense. And, people live all over San Diego. They don't necessarily live, they live far and wide. So do I really care whether the jobs come to Chula Vista, Linda Vista, or Vista? No, as long as the jobs come, because then we have employment and our unemployment rate will go down, and more people will, their values of their homes will go up, and everything will improve. So that's what's really important. And the same thing out there in El Centro, out in the Imperial Valley, that has the highest unemployment rate in the United States, something over, well, they put it out there at about 26%, but in actuality, when you look at the people that have dropped out of the job market, people that have stopped looking, people that have taken lower paying jobs just to put food on the table, you're probably looking well over in the mid-30s for what their unemployment rate is. So it's unsustainable. We have to get people jobs. Not only, to put food on the table and clothe their kids and self-esteem and all the other issues. We got to get people...
All of the above, the overall morale. It's
right.
been really, it has been really tough.
Yeah.
And I have two more questions for you.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
And not to put you on the spot, but that is what an interview is for, correct?
Yeah, put me on the spot.
Okay.
Rock and roll.
Do you know any gay families here in San Diego, or any gay couples?
Oh yeah, sure I do. Yeah, because I was a teacher in San Diego City schools, and I was also a principal of a non-public school, and those non-public schools for profit, and we take the kids that blow out of public school placements.
How does that play out as far as your own personal view and stance on gay marriage?
Well, like I said, I believe that marriage is defined as a union of one man and one woman. That's marriage. That's historically. Since the beginning of time, since man first started trotting on the face of the earth, what has been the basis of civilized society? It's been the union of one man and one woman for procreation. It wasn't until thousands of years later that they had formalized religions, Judaism, Christianity. And now, having been a school teacher and still a credentialed teacher, we don't need to be pushing that kind of an agenda, especially in elementary school, where kids are conflicted as it begins, as it is.
Well, there's a big difference between pushing gay marriage in elementary schools and actually allowing two people who love each other to get married and have a civil union where they can have all the benefits that a man and a woman does, wouldn't
Well,
you
sure.
say?
Yeah, but it's not marriage. It's a civil union or a domestic partnership. And the reason why this all came to the surface, or it has gradually come to the surface, is because a lot of these people were being denied their, their rights to go visit their loved one in a hospital, or getting health insurance, or any number of things.
Mm-hmm.
So they have every right for that. But just don't. It's not going to be sanctified in the church.
And I have one last question
Sure.
for you. You are a very tall man.
Yes, I am.
How tall are you?
I am 6'3.5", and I weigh 220
And my
pounds.
question for you is: do you find that helps you as a
as a
contender?
candidate?
Yes.
That's you're the first person that's ever asked me that. But I work out at the gym a lot. And I'm a happy life. I have all my hair and no gut.
Good.
And work out and be healthy.
Not a bad way to be.
Because I told my kids in school, you can have a middle class lifestyle. You only have to do simple things in life. First of all, you get a good night's sleep, eat a healthy diet, no ding dongs, no Twinkies, no fast food, don't do drugs, no drugs, don't smoke. Your body is sending you the message first time you smoke and you cough. Your body is saying, "What are you doing to me? Don't do it." And exercise, and then obviously complete high school, and don't get married until you're in your early 20s, and you have a really good shot, having a good middle class lifestyle and being able to get a job and support yourself, and also, when I get into groups of people, and I actually look around for the people that are in their 80s and their 90s, and why do I do that? Because these are the people that grew up during the Great Depression, so they knew what it meant to scrap and scrape to put food on the table. And then what? Just like your grandfather. He had to go up and fight World War II. And he was gone for years at a shot. So they have a lot of wisdom, about, how, and they've seen a lot of changes in our country. And when you sit down and you talk to people, these people that are in their 80s and their 90s, no matter whether they're a man or a woman, they can give you a lot of insight, that we're, in a lot of respects in our country right now, we're going down the wrong path.
They can also give you a lot of money, correct?
Yeah, if they got it. That's what it is. Give me the money, honey.
Thanks again. I really appreciate your time, Michael.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.